Clutter can stem from both trauma and narcissistic abuse, though the psychological mechanisms differ. Let's break these down. Trauma, e.g., loss, abuse, neglect, or significant life changes, often manifests in clutter through hoarding behaviors or an inability to discard items. Attachment to objects. Trauma survivors may develop emotional attachments to possessions as a coping mechanism. Objects can symbolize safety, control, or unresolved grief, e.g., holding onto items from a deceased loved one. Avoidance. Clutter can act as a physical barrier to avoid confronting painful emotions or memories. For example, filling space with belongings might create a sense of protection from vulnerability. Decision fatigue. Trauma can impair executive functioning, making it difficult to organize or decide what to keep or discard. This is common in PTSD or complex trauma cases. Research by Frost and Steketee, 2010, links hoarding disorder to trauma, noting that 60% of hoarders report traumatic life events. Victims of narcissistic abuse, prolonged emotional manipulation, gaslighting, or invalidation may struggle with clutter due to eroded self-worth. Survivors often internalize messages that they're unworthy of a clean, functional space. Clutter becomes a reflection of their diminished self-esteem. Learned helplessness. Narcissistic abuse can strip individuals of agency, leading to paralysis in tasks like decluttering. Why bother? Nothing I do matters. Emotional overwhelm. The chronic stress of abuse exhausts mental resources, leaving little energy for organization. Clutter here may also symbolize reclaiming control, a rebellion against the abuser's demands for perfection. Both angles are critical as they form a feedback loop. Emotional avoidance. Clutter distracts from unresolved emotions, e.g., guilt, shame, fear. Perfectionism. Fear of making wrong decisions leads to procrastination, e.g., I'll organize when I have time to do it perfectly. Attachment styles. Anxious attachment correlates with difficulty discarding items. Kiefer et al. 2012. Neurodivergence. ADHD or autism can impair organization due to sensory overload or executive dysfunction. Stress and anxiety. Clutter bombards the brain with excessive stimuli, raising cortisol levels. Saxby and Rapetti, 2010. Shame and isolation. Messy spaces can trigger social withdrawal to avoid judgment. Decision-making impairment. Chronic clutter overloads the prefrontal cortex, worsening procrastination. Depression. A chaotic environment reinforces feelings of helplessness. I can't fix this. Understanding this cycle is key to breaking it. Effective recovery requires combining psychological insights with actionable steps. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, challenges distorted beliefs, e.g., I need this item to feel safe, and builds decision-making skills. Trauma-informed therapy addresses root causes like grief or abuse, e.g., EMDR for trauma-related clutter. Mindfulness-based interventions reduces avoidance by teaching non-judgmental awareness of emotions tied to possessions. Narrative therapy helps reframe clutter as a story of survival, e.g., I held onto these things to protect myself. Micro-tasks break decluttering into 5-minute tasks to bypass overwhelm. The 4-box method: sort items into keep, donate, trash, and relocate categories. Body doubling. Have a supportive person nearby during decluttering to reduce anxiety. Sentimental anchors. Keep 1-2 meaningful items versus entire collections to honor memories without clutter. Routine building. Daily 10-minute tidy-ups prevent accumulation. Boundary setting. For narcissistic abuse survivors, creating a clutter-free space can symbolize reclaiming autonomy. Clutter rooted in emotional pain isn't just a mess to clean. It's a symptom of unmet needs. Recovery involves compassionate self-inquiry. What does this clutter protect me from feeling? Gradual exposure, slowly confronting discomfort while discarding items. Rebuilding agency, using small wins, e.g., organizing a drawer, to restore self-efficacy. By integrating therapy, practical tools, and self-compassion, individuals can transform clutter from a prison of the past into a space for renewal.